Thanks for joining the channel today. Today, I have my best friend and artist of the painting behind me, Jose Awu, and we're going to chop it up and discover about creativity. Let's talk about it.
Awu.
Jose, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
coming.
having me.
Thank you for coming. So you have my favorite painting in all of the world behind me. This has been very, it's been a journey just getting into this office. It is the piece of the office, and I look forward to getting the rest of the series from you. Very excited about that. It's a health and wellness channel, and to me, health and wellness is about what you put in your body: food, proper rest, sleep, exercise, detoxification, and mindfulness behavior. You are the brother that I go to sharpen my spear, to help me think more clearly. And really, today I just wanted to focus on some mindfulness behavior, some of the things that you use in order to get into your creative process. Perhaps talk about the series that this painting is part of, and all that stuff. So I guess my question is, my brother, how do you do what you do?
Oh, wow. I do what I do through the grace of the Creator, first and foremost, my brother. I think
Absolutely.
we have discussed that. But in terms of this series of work, The Redemption, it first of all is a triptych. The three pieces that comprise the triptych are the awakening, victory, and the call. And first of all, thanks for honoring me by, putting these pieces in your office and supporting the black artist. I mean, that's huge.
It's
But
very easy with the talent. It's very easy, but
I,
thank
I
you.
I
Yes.
appreciate that. But with that being said, in terms of the creative process, I am not one that would say that I've perfected it. Although I am, in my evolution around adopting and implementing the things that I'm learning about the creative process, in real life, right? So I'm doing things like taking myself on, creative dates. I get up, I try to walk in the morning.
Okay.
I jot down the first three things I think about when I'm writing in the morning.
Okay.
And I'm very conscious about how I am, talking to myself, how I'm manifesting those visions that I'm jotting down in the morning. So that's something that I endeavor to do every day. So that's part of the evolution for me from a creative process perspective.
Okay. So we are always evolving, growing. This particular process that you're talking about, I feel like it's new to me hearing it from you. Has it? How long have you been doing this?
I mean, it's hard to talk to a creative about the creative process because everybody's process is going to be different. I'd say I've probably, incorporated aspects of it
Yeah.
throughout,
Life.
my time on this planet.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But to be intentional, right, is what I think we're talking about, mindfulness, right, around how we bring that into this realm, how we bring those visions into this realm. We take the intangible and make it tangible, right? We've got to be intentional about, our spiritual and psychic activity around that, right? So at this stage, I'm trying to be intentional about it. Not that I always have been, but I endeavor to always be, if you will,
I understand.
that.
I understand. So I can kind of get what you're saying with what you're saying because back in the day when I was writing songs, making music, it was kind of just let it come to me. And it would come to me. There was a stillness before the movement that would happen. So when you are speaking of affirmations and speaking to yourself correctly, I completely resonate with that because I know that the word is very powerful, which is why I try not to say anything bad about myself, although I may sometimes, but I try not to. I can mess up sometimes. So how do you keep yourself in the more affirmative affirmation vein?
I think we just try to surround ourselves with like-minded people, folks who will hold us accountable to our higher self, right?
Yeah,
Our higher ideas,
yeah,
our higher aspirations, and who will, call us out when we're not operating in that vein. So I think that's part of it. I think the other part, though, really is a poem comes to mind. There's a part of this poem that says, you are a child of the universe, no less than the stars. So be gentle with yourself. We all fall, but we all get up. And I think the success really is found in our ability to be resilient and get up. Okay, yeah, whatever happened yesterday, whatever happened this morning, let's get up. Let's move from there.
sure.
So I think that's at least part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I love the act of keeping it going, of maybe hitting something that seems like resistance or indeed resistance, wiping yourself off and keeping it going. Because what I would like to do with this channel is to help people know that what they do on a daily is the things that will make the moment special, like we are in this moment now, and it will make the future special. So in my mind, I consider us living almost in two worlds, the present and the future. The past is only what we perceive of it or how our thoughts make us feel about it. Because I feel like through my meditation is emotions and what the heart is feeling is really what gets things done. So when you and I chop it up and you call me out on my stuff, it hurts a little bit. I can say that. It hurts.
That's where the blessing is found,
Yes,
right?
yes. It hurts a little bit when you're calling me out, but it seems right. Seems right because once you're 50, you know when you're BSing yourself.
Oh, you know when you're BSing
You know when
yourself.
you're BSing yourself.
Appreciate you calling that out too. Everybody can't just look and see that, but
No,
they know
no, no,
now.
no. Well,
So,
well, that's me. I was saying I was 50. I didn't say that.
but I'm hanging out with a 50-year-old guy, so clearly I'm an old man too.
Well, I get. Wait. Are we old men now? Is that what it is? Because I'm not claiming that
He can
at this time.
he can cut that part, right?
He can't cut anything. Okay, he's gonna let this thing roll. Okay, because it's about honesty.
Yes, it is about
It
honesty.
is about honesty.
Yes, I would agree. It's about honesty.
So with this series that I have, the other pieces that are coming are going to me, be the part that helps the office flow even more. It's kind of circular in here. So I might start taking people through my gallery of you first before they get to their chair. Even though their chair could be straight ahead, they're going to get a tour
I got you.
so they can feel it.
And I'm very, very grateful for that, but I would like to say it's not a gallery of me.
Oh,
It is not.
no, okay.
My brother, I'm just a conduit.
Okay, yes.
So you're going to give them an experience here at Camp Creek Dental that I'm very fortunate to be a part of. But it's not about me. It's about the experience that they have when they come into this space and they, get wonderful service from wonderful people and hopefully get to experience what they will view as a wonderful piece of art that inspires more conversation and maybe reflection, because that's what these pieces are about.
They are. They are. Particularly this one, the victory. When I first saw it, it hit me like over the head. It was next to the other pieces, and I just didn't have space enough because it's such a huge piece to put them all together, which is how I felt that they should be. At some other point, I'm sure that I'm going to get a different, I am going to get a different office, but I do want to put them all together. I really do. But until such time, they have their own spaces on the walls, and it'll be a journey for people to to experience, and hopefully, ignite some conversation for them.
If that happens, I believe we've done our job. Right?
I do. I do. So, do you meditate, brother?
I do
You
daily.
do daily.
Daily.
What?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you? Because I meditate. I go about 20 minutes. How long do you go?
Different times.
Different times.
And I think I think in this in this age of sort of Western thinking, if that isn't too outdated to say, we place time limits on an infinite sort of thing. That connection can be 9 minutes, it can be 9 seconds, it could be 90 minutes,
Right.
depending upon what's needed to get to to get to that connection. A meditation could be a very simple prayer or mantra that you say in the moment of need, because it really is about the instant and making that connection in the instant, not the time frame.
I love it.
That kind of I think it's Chronos and Cryos time. We got to get away from, step out of that paradigm, and let's just start thinking in terms of connection. So I think when we do that, yes, we're always meditating because we have, the ability to make contact with our higher self when we are aware that we're in need of that, when we're not operating in that vein. So that's sort of my
That's
thought on meditation.
sort of pretty good.
So I thought on meditation.
Okay, so how would you describe the connection to the higher self? If you could put that in words, how would you describe that, please?
Really?
Yeah,
That's kind of,
it's a hard one, maybe.
I don't even know if so in the Hebrew writings, you will find that, God, they felt God was so holy that they couldn't even utter the name. So it's
Yahweh.
not Yahweh, it's not even written out.
Yeah.
So how can one describe bliss? Right? How can one truly describe a level of peace that surpasses all understanding? The world says, "Oh yes, you should be disturbed," but somehow you are not. How do you articulate that? And I don't think it can be articulated. I think that awe is reserved for the Creator, because the Creator, yes, the Creator created this, the Creator in you, the Creator in us all created this. I think you reserve awe for that, but description, oh, it's beyond
Beyond description. Okay.
Yeah, that is to make the spiritual mundane, and that is something that we will not do.
Okay. Well, I've never taken a ayahuasca. Have you ever done that?
Now, if you're gonna add this, that's the wrong question to be asking the motherfucker. What you think? We're gonna cut over that.
No, we're not cutting
Fucking
it.
no, we're not talking about ayahuasca.
You can talk about.
I will not talk. No.
Oh well, okay.
But
Fine.
there are all sorts of paths, right, to this. I have a friend who practices. He's he's been involved in Wei Chun. I hope I'm saying that right. Kung Fu for quite a while.
Okay.
And he talks about his meditation with a tree, and he's talking about moving from dimensions, standing in front of a tree, and having the tree communicate things to him. He talks about the knowledge of the tree from the roots as he moves with the tree, communicating to him.
That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. But it is a level of interaction and connection that has been achieved by him through years of systematic practice.
Consistent, I'd
And
imagine.
consistent, yes, practice, and a lifestyle that has led him to, I guess, begin to realize the fruit. But when you start to kind of tap in, you realize there's always deeper strata. Right?
I'd say.
So, I mean, it's going back to your original question, it's really difficult to describe what that's like.
Sure.
It's just, something that I think you want to experience, that one would
Want to experience.
want to experience,
Sure.
in my opinion.
I definitely feel like it is a higher spiritual connection that is more tangible than when I'm not doing it. I feel as though I lose myself in the moment and become part of the infinite. That's how I feel. And then in the infinite, I don't really have any questions. I don't really have any answers. I'm just there, loving and experiencing God, the universe, where I am. That's how I would describe when I go there, get there. But it is, to me, it's not immediate. It does take a moment for me to. I do transcendental meditation. So there's a word that I utter in my head, and I just keep that word going over and over and over again. The word becomes the foreground. Sometimes the word becomes the background, and then sometimes the word is all that it is, everything. Like I'm in the word that I utter in my head. If that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, I believe it was Hermes that said, those who have achieved mind and speech will ultimately exist in the bliss. Because once they have moved on, mind and speech will remain.
My brother Jose, what? What?
Check me on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to.
Fact check me on that.
Because
but I do believe that was said.
How about this? Even if it's wrong,
It
it's
sounded
right.
good as
Even
fuck.
if it's
I
wrong,
can't curse. It sounded
you can,
great.
but don't.
To
You know?
bliss.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
need to go there, but
It's
you
fine.
took me there
Because we're at the house.
That's where
Almost.
we
We're almost
are.
at the house. It's okay.
We're almost
It's all
there.
right. Be yourself.
So mind and speech, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's we coming to bring this full circle. How do we speak to ourselves, right? In a world that tells us that we should be concerned with the thoughts that others hold of us, the opinions of others. What opinion do you hold of yourself? What opinion do I hold of myself? And how do I talk to myself based on the thought that I hold of myself? It is far greater than any thought that any other person will hold of you, the thought that you hold about yourself. So let's be generous in our thinking in terms of how we talk to ourselves based on those thoughts. That will allow us to communicate and to think about others in a much more magnanimous way, in my opinion. And
love
that's
that.
what this series is about, the redemption. And that's about redeeming our thinking. What is righteousness? Righteousness simply is right thinking. So if we can start thinking right, maybe we can not only redeem ourselves, but the world that we live in. So that's what this series really is about.
What you just said reminded me of this book review that I did of this author named Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements.
Of course.
And it was make no assumptions. And well, that was the thing. Don't make any assumptions. Is one of the agreements. So when I assume that somebody feels or thinks a certain kind of way about me, I'm coming.
Which is really none of your business.
None of my business.
Their thought.
But I'm
none
coming
your
out of my
business.
own character, though,
Yes.
because I shouldn't have to worry about what they think about me or not. And then if I'm thinking, what are they thinking about me? Well, then it's something that I still have to resolve in my own self.
Correct.
Which there have been times that I felt like I need some resolution now. Sometimes. Insecure, I guess I could be insecure sometimes, I guess, but that is not that seems so far in the past now. I've been more secure, more assured that what I'm doing and where I am with what I'm doing is the right thing, and I definitely go with God. So
That's the only way to go.
that's the only way to go. So I move behind him with God in front of me, and I feel like there's no problem. Cody Chestnut, our friend, how we know each other. Cody Chestnut is, for those of you who might not know, he is a artist, musician. He did some tracks with The Roots. He has his own records out, and he's actually in the movie Soul. He's the one playing on the train tracks. But this is our best friend, our other best friend. He moves with God in front of him. And he was the one of my, before I knew you, he said that's how he was going to move. And I remember saying, okay, let's see how it goes. And it has been going great, as far as I'm concerned, for him thus far. It's just what it seems like. And I'm just so proud of him for that, because he said, I'm going to do this. And he does what he said. One of my favorite things about him.
Absolutely. I mean, what is a man if not his word? I mean, so let's keep all this kind of tied into what we've been talking about. Yeah. Cody not only is, I mean, I'm fortunate to say a good friend of ours, but also just an inspiration. Somebody who, you can really jump out there and share ideas with. And somebody who also has the depth, breadth, and vision to bring it to life. When we did Broad Strokes on Broad Street, where the city of Atlanta closed down Broad Street for 40 days to really highlight the crisis of the unhomed in our city. I told Chestnut that we need to create conversation around this, and he's like, "I'm right there. Let me know what I can do." And I want to thank you for joining him and being a part of really creating this gathering of thought leaders, city, public, private, individuals, and organizations to talk about what we're going to do as a city to really address this crisis. But Cody Chestnut, when it was just an idea, said, "Hey, here's what we need to do. Here's what I can do." Not it's deeper than a friendship. It's a brotherhood. I think you would agree. I mean, again, words just don't, I think, fully encapsulate what he brings from a creative and a spiritual perspective, because I think we would agree that when he says something, he means it. So if you want to create that model, right, be about it. I think there's a song out there, something about I talk it like I walk it. Check it out, partner. Cody Chestnut, talking like he walk it. So that's sort of a case study. That's a model. Let's talk it like we walk it for real. You know what I mean? And I think Cody Chestnut, you know, walks it like he talks it.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
I strive to be a source or a resource for people to be able to help themselves. This conversation is supposed to be one of the pieces of the cog of that resource for people to help themselves, right? What would you say to someone, I mean, if you could land any words, it's just a thought, what would you say to someone that feels like life isn't fair? Like it's unfair? Like do you have any words that you would say to that type of person? Like, I can't believe this, this always happens to me. I mean, right there, I can tell you this particular character that I'm making up already has bad words of affirmation, right? But what would you lend to
I
that
mean,
person?
listen, first of all, who are we really to give advice? I don't have. Here's what I would offer in terms of my own experience in my own situation: be gentle with yourself, right? Start leveraging different words when you think about yourself, right? But if you don't have a connection, coming back to what we were talking about, if you're not starting, how can you move higher when you don't have a connection with source, right? So all things are possible, right?
Right.
When I'm connected. But if I'm not connected, nothing is possible. And it's just that simple. So connection is primary. And then I think we are made whole as not, let me step back. We are made whole,
Okay.
right, as a result of that grace, not as a condition of that grace. Because
You
if the
better talk,
condition
man.
was that we were whole when we came to the table,
Right.
none of us would be at the table.
Exactly.
So we have all fallen short,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
But I would also say, I was thinking about Khalil Gibran earlier, and we were talking about, the woe is me crowd. This is what happened yesterday. This is what's going to happen tomorrow. Gibran says there is nothing missing in the present. That's why we call it a gift. You
Wow.
can't change yesterday, and you really don't know what tomorrow holds. But today, you have to work with it.
You have to work
And
with it.
there are so many of us who have, with this COVID thing, not made it to today. We're here today. That's a gift. And I think if we continue to focus on the gift of today, we're better prepared for tomorrow. Even if we don't know what tomorrow holds, we do know who holds tomorrow.
We do.
So that's what I would offer for
That's a
consideration.
good offering, brother. Just so you
all I got.
know.
That's all I got.
Man, let me get another one for you guys. Hang on. Because I got Jose Awu here. All right.
Awu, he still said like he
Awu.
he just God dang.
Awu. Is
I
that?
can't Awu.
Awu. I
Like,
thought I kept saying it.
like
Anyway.
woo.
Woo. All right. Woo. Look, you can correct me all the time.
I'm just messing with
Woo.
you,
You can correct me all the time. Hopefully, no more corrections. So, I know that people have a struggle. The homeless situation, as it is
Unhomed.
unhomed,
Yes, brother.
the unhomed situation is growing rapidly.
Exponentially. Yes.
Exponentially, it seems. Those could be individuals that feel or indeed have lost their connection, their base to the source. I said in some of them, I'm not sure how it is for them. In some cases, it seems like drugs could be a source of disconnect as well as a source of escape for the unhomed in order for them to deal with the moment that they're actually not dealing with. So, I guess when you say unhomed, and excuse my homeless phrase, but that's how I pretty much knew of it. The unhomed, how can we fix that? What type of resources would be necessary in order to suit, fix, like really help your cause?
My cause is just bringing attention and conversation to the issue. I believe that's my role as the artist.
Okay.
The solution is much bigger than we're going to get to in our chat today. And I think that there are people out there who are much better positioned than I am to talk about the solution. One of those people is a woman by the name of Carol Collard. She runs an organization called Caring Works, and it's a home first organization. Caring Works was my partner in this Broad Strokes on Broad Street initiative, where we talked about advocacy for the unhomed in Atlanta. So people like Carol Collard are much better positioned to talk about what the solutions are and what the needs are than I am. I'm just a proud resident of the city of Atlanta, a citizen of the city of Atlanta who's outraged that we walk by our fellow human beings on the street and pretend that they're not there. I'm not saying that there are not mental health challenges. I'm not saying that there are not substance abuse challenges. But I am saying that we can't stop seeing the humanity in people without somehow losing a part of our own. And so at the end of the day, I talked about community, right? What community means, not only to folks who are unhomed, but to people who were previously unhomed, and to people, if you recall, who've never been unhomed, but we allow that fear to motivate us to do the things that we need to do every day so we won't ever have to really deal with that terror. Our inability to deal with that fear makes it real, right? So until we can begin to look at other people who are not in our situations, we're very blessed not to be in that situation. Very fortunate, by the way, not to be in that situation. It could happen to anybody.
Anyone.
What we need to understand, right, is that we need to face our own fear, right, to begin to empathize with the struggles of others. Right? And I don't know, and that's a very complex statement, I realize. But until we do it, we don't come up with solutions, right, that are sustainable. So, moving back to
It's frustrating to me.
well, it is frustrating. It's frustrating to see,
yeah.
and it's frustrating to deal with some of the situations that we all experience. Having to coexist in a world where homelessness is, or the plight of the unhomed, I should say, is growing. Yes, there are some people that choose to be unhomed, and yes, there are other people who do not. So I interviewed about 20 individuals who were formerly unhomed, and the one thing that all of them had in common was they had very strong faith, because you need faith to survive.
You were saying
on the street.
That's the source. That's the root, if you will.
That's the root. But the other thing is, when you listen, they didn't have stories that were so far outside of the realm of what we as a people, right, are familiar with, that you couldn't identify with their situation. So let's just say someone was unhomed because of drugs. I interviewed a woman who spent 20 years in prison. And when she came home, she fell into substance abuse and being unhomed. But she also talked about how, having gone through that experience, she now appreciates a very simple thing, is taking a bath in her own apartment in a way that she couldn't fully describe how much it meant to her. She said, being the woman that God created her to be, that's what dignity does for people. And anybody who wants that dignity, that level of dignity that comes from not being home insecure, I believe should have it.
Wow. How long have you been working on this particular thought process and your help with making the unhomed more aware and more on the forefront of Atlanta?
That show was in 2022, Broad Strokes on Broad
Right.
Street. So we're still working with Caring Works, and the problem hasn't gone away. Unfortunately, I don't think it is going to go away.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we should stop working on proactive solutions that will preserve the dignity of people who are looking to be in a better situation.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's amazing work, and thank you for that. So it seems like your mindful game is quite tight. It seems that way.
it's vacillating.
Vacillating. Okay, good.
You caught me on a good day.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How? Obviously, you speak well to yourself. Do you eat well? Do you sleep well? All those things, like
Sometimes.
right? You know what your blood type is. Okay. Do you eat according to your blood type? Do you?
I do eat according to my blood type,
Okay.
thanks to your mother.
Okay. All right. And in doing that,
I aspire to eat to my blood type.
sure, because it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm still, I still struggle with, the taste versus the reward. Right? The taste is great. The reward is not so great. That's not to say that healthy things don't taste good, but healthy things that taste good take longer to prepare. It seems. If you're not going out, it feels like it does anyway. At least the way I cook. So
You are a cook, yes.
sometimes that instant reward gets me, but I'm trying to, be mindful of that. And I don't believe in necessarily denying myself. I try to moderate.
I think moderation is
That's
the
key.
best way because I think we're supposed to enjoy this gift that is life and where we get to be, how we get to be, the things we get to experience. All those are part of it. And perfection is something that one could strive for, but if perfection has, to me, the cost of not a great life, then is it at all perfect?
And I mean, who said? I mean, there is no degree of perfection. Situations are perfect, people are not. And if we keep, I think,
What do you mean situations are perfect?
you could be in a perfect situation with imperfect surroundings. You could be in a perfect situation. We are imperfect beings, but in our imperfectness, we can create perfection. If we're able to be the silent observer of ourselves, which is really
Did you just
the
power
work.
versus force me?
I
Did
just
you
did
did
your
you just
ass.
power
I
versus
thought I
force?
thought you would have picked that
Yes, I
up. I
did.
mean,
I did. The silent
yeah,
observer.
I know about three of us read, so
Certainly, I have found that books are incredible to help one get be able to articulate and also to be able to put words together in such a way that they are understood. The communications at a higher level. That's what it seems like reading does for me. It helps me understand some things. And then, of course, it seems like it's in the book. It's there forever. And sometimes I'll get to like the middle of the book and be blown away about so many things. Right now, I'm reading a trading book about stocks and trading and understanding the market. But what I've understood so far is that it's really a psychological game. It's 80% psychology, 20% you know how to put an entry in, you know how to get your exit out, and you're looking at certain indicators in the market that would make you say, yes, I'm going to go in, or now I'm going to go out. Psychology has been one of those things that they didn't really give us in dental school. It wasn't. It was something that I had to kind of come up with as I greet each new person that I serve. I got to see where they're coming from. You know, I met someone that actually they do your sign, your astrological sign. They feel that you could get a lot out of how someone is based on their astrological sign. Do you subscribe to anything like that?
I mean, I subscribe to receiving messages that the universe is sending me in the way that they come. Discernment is what, when you talk about meditation earlier, discernment is what we should be meditating on, praying on. What does this mean, right? So, yeah. But I want to come back to something you said earlier about, servant leadership.
Absolutely.
And what people teach us in these schools of higher learning, right? What we really do in life, no matter what your profession is, in my view, is about touching people. It's about who we touch and how we're able to touch them and the tone that we employ when we engage. People remember more than anything that happens how they felt about what happened. So if the energy, right, that we are transmitting to each other is at a certain level, the experience will definitely always be what it's supposed to be.
Agreed.
So staying there, right, for me, is the work. Because when we make connection, we grow, right? We're able to share portions of our higher self with each other, and that experience is always fulfilling and worthwhile. So,
Absolutely a woo. I mean, how much can I give them of a woo? A woo. How
you can give them
much?
that. That's give them that
A
part.
woo.
That's
Okay,
that's
because
what it is.
it is the victory painting. It is so many other pieces of work that you have that will be displayed, that are on display. And then I think you said Mexico City at one point.
Yeah, I just finished up a commission for the. Well, let me tell you about the commission first.
Yeah.
It highlights John Carlos's, you know, act of solidarity in 1968 at the Olympic Games that was held in Mexico City, and I was commissioned by the former archivist of Coke, you know, to you know, conceptualize what that would be for a space that they were creating in a building that is in Mexico City.
Wow.
So very happy that they're happy. Very excited about some of the conversations taking place there about that piece. So I'll be going down, I believe, at the middle of, I'll be going down, yeah, I think in July,
Okay.
to give a talk about the piece that's there. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Any other shows or showings you have coming up?
Got some interesting things coming up. No, I mean, none that I want to plug right now.
Okay, that's
But,
fine. That's fine.
You know, hopefully, you know, I think, yeah, more to come on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all right. I so appreciate you coming.
Thanks for
and
having me.
sharing with all of my beautiful people that have subscribed. Please like and subscribe. If you found anything interesting or that you agree with, please share it with a friend. Please leave a comment and let's talk about it. Thanks so much for watching.